Think of one person in your life. Not the worst person, just someone who leaves you feeling slightly depleted every time you're around them. You don't have to name what's wrong. You probably can't. But hold that person in mind for the next few minutes, because there's a simple test you can run, not on them, but on yourself, that will tell you more about that relationship than years of reflection have. Most people who are overgiving in a relationship don't lack self-awareness. They have too much of it, pointed in the wrong direction. They spend enormous energy wondering whether their exhaustion is justified, whether they're being too sensitive, whether the problem is their expectations rather than the dynamic itself. The confusion isn't accidental. Confusion is actually quite useful when you're not ready to know something. Here is the first part of the test. Think about the last time you declined a small request from this person, or imagine doing it now. Not a significant refusal. Something minor. A favor you couldn't do that week, a plan you needed to change, an opinion you offered that differed from theirs. Now notice what happens, not what they said, but what you felt in the moment before you said it. Did you feel free to say no, the way you would with most people? Or did you feel a quiet rehearsal happening, a mental calculation of how they'd receive it, what it would cost you, how much explanation would be required to make the refusal acceptable? That rehearsal is not about your anxiety. That rehearsal is data. In relationships built on mutual respect, small refusals require almost no preparation. You say it and it lands cleanly. In relationships with a hidden imbalance, even minor refusals feel like negotiations. You're not imagining that. The calculation exists because, somewhere beneath your awareness, you already know the math doesn't add up. The second part of the test is more precise. After a small refusal, after you've said no to something genuinely small, observe the length of their recovery. A person who values you as much as they value what you provide will recover quickly and without residue. A person who has come to rely on your overgiving will, even subtly, need to recalibrate. You might see it in a slight coolness, a withdrawn energy, a remark that carries just enough edge to register. You don't have to interpret it or analyze it. You just have to notice whether it's there. And if it is, notice how quickly you move to soften it, how naturally you reach for repair in a direction that always seems to run from you outward. This is the mechanism most people miss. The exhaustion of overgiving is rarely caused by what you're giving. It's caused by the vigilance required to manage someone else's reaction to your limits. You are not tired from generosity. You are tired from the labor of keeping the peace in a relationship that only feels peaceful when you are the one accommodating. The third part of the test is the quietest. Think about what you want from this relationship, not what you receive, but what you actually want. Now ask yourself, have you said it? Not hinted at it. Said it. And if you haven't, ask yourself why. The answer is usually not that you don't know how to say it. The answer is that some part of you has learned, through enough small experiments, that your needs change the temperature of this relationship in a way theirs don't. You've learned to want quietly. There is a line that emerges somewhere in every relationship where the balance tips past acceptable, when you begin editing yourself to preserve someone else's comfort as a matter of habit, you are no longer in a relationship. You are in a service. What you do with what the test reveals is entirely yours to decide. This is not a verdict on another person. People who take without reciprocating are rarely deliberate about it, they've simply learned that you will continue to give whether they do or not. That pattern belongs to both of you. But clarity belongs only to you. And the thing about clarity is that it doesn't require confrontation to be real. You don't have to say anything to anyone. You only have to stop pretending the confusion is genuine when, somewhere underneath it, you already know. The exhaustion you've been explaining away for months is not a character flaw. It is a receipt. And receipts, finally read, have a way of making everything that comes next feel less complicated than you feared. If conversations like this one are the kind you've been looking for, this channel exists for exactly that. Subscribe, and let's keep going.